We're at THSCA Coaching School. I've got UIW head coach Clint Killough. Coach, how's life been? Pretty easy, pretty calm the last few months since December?
It's been a whirlwind since December. It's been a lot of recruiting. Recruiting's been nonstop. I'm glad that we're kind of beyond that. We got into June, and we got to see those guys get in the weight room, get on the field, and start to really put it together. And then I had my firstborn. My daughter, Catherine, was born May 31st, so that was a blessing. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's been a good one.
How is the family doing? Because it's awesome, right?
Really
there's
good.
Nothing better than kids.
Oh, it's indescribable. She smiled at me the last week for the first time, where it was a legitimate smile. You know, we kind of have those baby smirks and stuff, but she really smiled at me, and it was.
Wait till she says Dada, and that's her first word all the time, right?
Yeah, it'll be at first.
It will be
before mom.
Always, right? And then your wife's going to be like, "But what about me?" And you'll be like, "You'll get your turn. Don't worry."
I'll just keep my mouth shut on that one.
See, with mine, I got a 7-year-old. So with mine, it started out Dada, Dada, Dada. Now it's Mama, Mama, Mama. So look, if you can have that transition, I'm sorry, honey, but I will. I don't know how I did it, but if you can have that transition, she's going to kill me for this because she knows what I do, right? Like she understands.
There you go.
But mama, baby, everybody doing good.
Yeah, everybody's doing good. Everybody's ready for football. I can promise you that.
And on the gridiron, you guys were national semifinalists last year. You were. I'm not going to bring up that memory. We're not going back there. You were national semifinalists.
Yeah.
We're going to go positive. We're moving on.
Yeah.
You had a lot of transfers out. You're going to have new quarterbacks. But you know what? You had a lot of transfers in.
Yep.
And if there's one thing that Morris talked about yesterday, Eric Morris in the FBS coaching panel, and you and I have discussed, it was interesting to hear him discuss it as well, just the program built. When he got there, he started with high school. People forget that UIW, and you were a part of the staff then from the building, from the floor, going straight high school. Now this is the time, especially with the COVID years, you're starting to see that. And I think what's important to note is everybody looks at transfers. You only add transfers to help strengthen depth because you've got that program built at the high school level.
Yeah, and we had a lot of attrition at the mid-year on a number of different floors. I mean, we had over 20 guys graduate, 5 of which were All-Americans last year. Your Taylor Grimes, your Darian Chaffins, your Kalechi's. But we also had over 20 transfers to the FBS, you know what I mean? Or not all to the FBS, but 20 transfers out of our program. So we need to not just replenish that youthful base, kind of like Morris did in 2018, but we also had to replenish some experience and some guys that are ready to go right now. So we brought in 30 transfers, and my staff, I applaud my staff every single day because they did a tremendous job. They hit the ground running as soon as they got to San Antonio, and we didn't just sign transfers just to sign them. I think we signed pieces that fit, and not just fit our scheme. Obviously, that's one, but they fit our culture, and they love football. They respond well to when they're told no. They respond the right way, which is hard for young people.
Yeah.
Hard for older people.
Hard for
people.
me. All right.
And all those guys they got something to prove.
Yeah.
And our staff has something to prove, and I have something to prove. So I've been very, very happy with how everybody's meshed and gelled thus far.
I don't have any doubt. Like, you should, right?
Outside looking in.
Can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait because I see the pieces. I see what you've done. If it all fits, you're gonna have something pretty good this year in San Antonio. And we were talking. I will be at the believe it's your week 3 game at Abilene Christian. Your schedule, man. That'll be your 3rd game. All road games. You start at UTEP. That's always a tough one when you're going up. They've got more scholarships. Then you've got a road trip out to northern Colorado and another road trip to Abilene. By the end of that, I have a feeling you're going to know who to put where, and you'll be ready for conference at the end of that little trip.
Yeah, that'll battle test us a little bit for sure. I mean, you go to a quality FBS opponent in UTEP. We played on my senior year, so I'm a little familiar with the Sun Bowl. So we get to go back out there, and then you get 2 quality FCS opponents, and you kind of figure out who are we really, what guys are really here to contend and compete and do their jobs at a high level week to week. And then we come back and we have an NAI opponent, and then we got a bye, and then we get into conference play. Yeah. And by then we'll be rocking and rolling.
Your conference schedule, I looked home and away. Three-peat? Are we looking for four-peat or
we're trying to go for a three-peat.
Three-peat, okay. Because it's four in about
since
6 years? Yeah, four since 2018. That's quite a run of success for UIW.
Yeah, and there's a lot that attributes to that. Obviously, the city of San Antonio, we got a great administration, but we've done a really good job of putting people first and putting good people in the building. You go from Eric Morris to G.J. Kinney, and I was fortunate to be a part of both those staffs. And when you have good people in the building, usually good people produce good results. So we're going to do everything in our power. I've done probably the most proud thing that I am is the staff that I was able to hire. I mean, we got great guys from Connor McQueen leading the offense, and Jim Gush leading the defense. I'm very excited to see those guys go to work. Our whole staff go to work, and hopefully we can produce the products that we've been talking to these kids about.
Talking to some of your staff, and they mentioned how important having Jim Gush was.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's kind of really brought what you need to that defensive side. I'm looking forward to that. I'm interested. You mentioned good people, and G.J. Kinney he is great people.
Yeah.
Seen him around here, he's so awesome. But how is that dynamic? This is interesting to me. How's that dynamic work? Because you're friends, great dudes. Both of you are great people. He's coming in taking your transfers and forcing you to go find others, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the name of the game, especially at the FCS level. And if you get too caught up in that, you'll kind of trip up and you'll lose sight of what's ahead. I mean, there's a lot of really good football players out there, and that's kind of what the transfer portal has created. And obviously we're in the great state of Texas where there's an abundance of great high school players as well. So if you get too caught up in where guys are going, I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to happen, and you got to roll with the punches and you got to keep recruiting. And it's on to the next one. But no, me and GJ, we're kind of cut from the same cloth in a lot of categories, and I got a lot of admiration for GJ, and we'll be lifelong friends, and that's just kind of the name of the game. But we've reloaded and we're ready to go.
Definitely. You've got wideouts, and you've got wideouts that produced last year that are back. A lot of NFL
wideouts are
talent.
Close to my heart.
He's wide receivers coach for a while, and you've got some good ones. You had Darian Chafin come through. You mentioned Taylor Grimes. You have NFL level players in San Antonio this year. I think that's huge, and it speaks to what you guys have been able to build, what you've been able to bring in.
No doubt, and on that. Kelechi and Lebetchley came back and was around the team for this past week while he was down in Houston visiting family. So he drove down to San Antonio and was hanging around the team and watching workouts and stuff, and it was really cool for him to be able to, step in front of the team when you got 14 high school kids that we just signed, and they can see a kid that's gone through the whole process from Shadow Creek High School to a graduate at UIW and now has a legitimate shot to make the 53-man roster for the Rams. So it's kind of – it's really cool for me, especially being a former athlete at UIW and coming up the way that I have to see where it's come full circle. So
it's impressive to me because I honestly forget how young you are. That is the greatest when I think of a hire, we were thinking about. We've talked about this before. From Eric Morris, G.J. Kinney, and you, like how it's been a younger coach. It's like they need that. Like if I had to describe UIW and why you guys work so well, you connect with that fan base, and then all three of you have a maturity of somewhat way more maturity than this guy. You got far more than that. So I mean that's that connection. You're able to connect both ways, and I think that's what each of you kind of have in common.
Yeah, a little bit of charisma. A lot of spark, a lot of competitiveness, and we can relate to the young player. We can relate to those guys that want to come in and have a good relationship with the head football coach and their position coach at the same time, and we want to win. That's right up front, in the middle of your face. We want to win football games, and we're going to do what it takes to win football games.
From the first time we spoke, that's the first word you said. We want to win. Yeah. You have not swayed from that from the first time. And so I'm going to ask you. We're not going to ask who, but we are going to discuss this quarterback room, right? I told you. I made a promise with you, right? I made you a deal.
Yeah.
So I'm not. But I will ask you, because I know you get it all the time,
right? It might be the most interesting quarterback room in FCS
That's
football.
the thing. Like, right now, for me, it's not even about who the starter is.
Yeah.
It's you got to look at that whole room. And I know, look, Zach Calzada got the press.
Yeah.
But that room has got about 3 or 4 people, too.
Yeah. And really, we got 3 studs in that room. You start with Zach Calzada, and I mean, the country knows about Zach Calzada. You beat the number 1 team in the country, coached by Nick Saban, they're going to know about you. He's got a great arm. He can make all the throws. He's an elite competitor. I mean, he can play at this level and he can win football games. Now, the other 2 that kind of create some uniqueness is Richard Torres, who's a 6'5" kid from the south side of San Antonio that has a pure motion. He's smart. He picks things up. He was a basketball player growing up, so he's got great feet in the pocket, great feel. And he's kind of a natural-born leader. You got Ryan Stubblefield, who's coming in, and Richard came to us from Nebraska. You got Ryan Stubblefield, who's he went to Foster High School in Houston, is coming to us from East Carolina, and kind of gives us that unique skill set where we can get a little bit of the quarterback run game in the motion. He gets the ball out of his hands really quickly. He's really good with all the quick game, and he can push the ball down the field. So those 3 guys they're going to compete through fall camp, and I've made it very clear. And I'm an upfront recruiter. I don't beat around the bush in anything, and I let these guys know, hey, there's going to be competition, and guys are going to be coming in. And the one thing I love about all of them is they all got something to prove, like I said earlier in the interview, and they're ready to compete.
So I will ask you this, philosophy-wise.
Yeah.
Are you a guy that prefers to go with one guy and just kind of lead, or are you? Because you talked about they have 2-3 different styles.
Yeah,
right?
100%. And at the end of the day, it's what gives us the best chance to win. But I am a firm believer in naming a guy.
Yes.
Because I think that builds confidence in him. I want that guy to know he's got the keys to the car and he can drive it and he can be creative in the person and the player that he wants to be. And I don't want him looking over his shoulder or thinking, hey, am I going in this drive or not? Like, hey, you're the guy. Let's go get it.
And when that fall camp's going to be fun. And when you make that decision,
2 weeks. I can't wait.
It's so close, man. Wait. It's so close. Like you got media day coming up Tuesday, and then a virtual media day with the Southland, and then we've got Lone Star Conference after that with D2, and everybody's out there practicing at that point. Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost here. Has it hit you yet? That you're about to be on the you're going to run out on the field as a head football coach at UIW. Has that hit you?
I mean, in some circumstances, I'm not walking around the exhibit floor. I'm doing an interview. That's hit me. But no, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a football coach, and that hasn't really changed my approach in any manner. I mean, and I've been fortunate to be at UIW, a great university, for a few years, so there isn't a lot of change there either. But no, I'm a football coach, and that's what I'm going to be to the end. And whether I'm the head coach or not, I'm going to give those guys everything that I got on a day-to-day basis, and they're going to know I love them. They're going to know I'm there to win.
You're a football coach. You're going to do that to the end. I'm a sports writer, and I'm going to bug the heck out of you because we're all fighting to find out who's going to be that guy.
There you go.
We're all looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to watch you guys. Thank you so much, Clint, for joining us. I appreciate you, Coach.
No doubt.